it's an ecosystem of people who help people. And if you think of IT professionals, you think of people who dedicate technically their profession is to help others and to help businesses run smoothly. And this is actually the person that gets, in many cases, most yelled at. So there is a lot of work doing with this industry to well position it and to push it further. And that's basically, I would say, what I'm looking for.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley in partnership with Leumi Tech, sponsored by Homeward Ventures, Hippo Insurance, Upwest Labs, Synergy Global, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, Birthright Excel, Serona Partners, and in media partnership with C-Tech. Welcome to another episode of 20-Minute Leaders. Today we are with Yoav Machlin, the Vice President of Marketing at Atera. Yoav has over 10 years of experience leading multi-channel marketing, performance, and growth operations. Today, Yoav is the Vice President of Marketing at Atera, which recently raised more than $100 million to help small businesses to proactively manage their networks, maintaining them problem-free. Yoav Machlin, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you today?
Thank you, Michael. I'm all well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Another conversation about a fascinating journey, going from IT and computer systems in Mamram to various marketing roles, business unit roles, now Vice President of Marketing at Atera, a company that has raised significant amount of funds. I believe most recently $77 million. Looking at the RMM software, and I love the headline, RMM software that doesn't suck. There aren't many places that I can see that as the headline, and I love that. So we'll hear all about that in just a minute. But you have to walk me through sort of the big milestones in your own career and journey, and how do you envision yourself if you sort of take yourself to a third party, condition? How do you see Yoav Machlin's journey throughout his career?
Oh, wow. That's a big question. Yoav Machlin's journey. I will say, first of all, we all deserve a software that doesn't suck. So we'll talk about that more. But that's it's not in the title just for being there. We have a lot of thinking process behind it, and I will share. Yoav Machlin's journey. I would say, first of all, again, thank you for having me. And I will tell you that in terms of a marketer, I see it as a big contribution from my end to society, and I will explain. As I see marketing, it's matchmaking, but for businesses and for needs and products and services. And always I thought to myself, what can I do that will do good? And I thought, and I realized that I'm very good at making these type of matches. So all of my journey, I would say, is written with that in mind. And I started selling music online to new musicians through ICQ at the time. Actually, just before the army, good old ICQ. And really from there, I realized that really marketing is my thing. And I started learning it along with the IT, as you mentioned, with information systems. And with time, I took the different roles you mentioned. So it's all about really taking care of the matching between customers and needs and the product and services by definition.
So in your entrance to marketing, you really saw that. What I'm understanding from you is what got you excited about marketing. It wasn't, just the selling and the strategy of how to close the sale the fastest. It really is about finding the win-win situation between the business and the customer that needs it.
Exactly. That's exactly it. I would say that my first role as a marketer, as an intern, was actually in affiliate marketing. And in affiliate marketing, I found the way to do win-win online. And what I liked also in performance marketing, afterwards, I was almost 8 years at Webpals before joining Atera for the past 3 years. I would say that when I realized what performance marketing can do, which is basically customization of messaging, but for the masses, making sure that we can do almost like one-on-one messaging, but on scale, that's where I fell in love with the with really what I do for the past, I would say, 12, 13 years.
Incredible. What makes you have a good marketer, do you think? Obviously, if you look at your trajectory and you look at what you're doing today, you're by any standard a good marketer, a great marketer. But what
Mhm.
makes,
Thank you.
if you look, deep inside your work, your thinking process, and especially I'm asking this because I think it resonates to sort of the really unique way that you're looking at marketing, which I haven't heard before, which is really, really cool. What makes you a good marketer?
First of all, I'm humbled and thank you. And in my mind, I would say what makes good marketing is, first of all, constantly listening and understanding the users we're talking to and we're selling to. And that's, as you mentioned, in terms of matchmaking, as I see it, we really need to understand that we're not pushing anything. And I'm not in the business of pushing, selling stuff that are not needed. We need to understand what is needed, and we need to make sure that we convey the message to the relevant person. And if it's not relevant, we just move on and we hope to live a good experience. So once it is relevant, the lead potentially would become a sale. So in terms of good marketing, constantly listening, and of course knowing well what you're selling. So both ends, what we're selling, knowing it well, knowing the customers and the different users and the different segments. That's for me a key for good marketing.
And so, obviously, until now, we've been talking about marketing as a general term and something that can be applied to any vertical, from selling eggs to a supermarket to selling B2B software. And you're right now in the RMM space, and in a second, you'll explain to me exactly what does it
Yeah,
mean, the remote monitoring and management for IT solutions. But
sure.
if you're looking at marketing in general over your career, what did you find yourself most drawn to in the types of products that you're selling?
So first of all, online was very important for me because, as I mentioned, it was something that it was a platform that felt very important, and I was very connected to it. I wanted to sell globally, and in terms of the product itself, something that I would say for the past few years was very important to me to uh, keep on selling products that provide value. And IT, which we'll talk about now in a few minutes, it's not like the most. It's not intuitively. You think of IT when you think let's push humanity forward, but you will see how it's actually a great story with Atera. We sell mostly to small and medium businesses, and it's an ecosystem of people who help people. And if you think of IT professionals, you think of people who dedicate technically their profession is to help others and to help businesses run smoothly. And this is actually the person that gets, in many cases, most yelled at. So there is a lot of work doing with this industry to well position it and to push it further. And that's basically, I would say, what I'm looking for and what I do.
Wonderful. So take me through Atera and start, by I have to understand, RMM, so remote monitoring
Yeah,
and management. What does that even mean, and what pain point is Atera solving here?
sure. So first of all, RMM, let's leave the initials for later. Many initials in the IT industry and sphere. Atera came to, as I mentioned, to serve SMBs, small and medium businesses globally. It's more than half of the economy. And these are, in terms of IT, it was a population that was underserved for many years. What Atera does, it makes IT, network monitoring and computer maintenance, proactive rather than reactive. Now think of yourself to maybe put it into day-to-day words. You have probably on a daily, of course, weekly basis, computer issues. Your computer gets slowed, or the printer is about to go down, to run out of ink, etc. So many issues. Windows gets updated, and you're not necessarily secured because all of the patches that are updated are not completely patched. And what
Right.
we do is we aim that you will not need to talk to your IT professional at all. The, the Atera system is able to recognize when there is an issue or there is about to be an issue. It alerts the IT technician that will fix the issue without basically having you feel it. And that's basically to be proactive and maintenance mode that rather than reactive. I would add to that that what we also do, we have two types of IT professionals that are customer of ours. One is IT teams within small medium businesses, and one is MSPs. I told you initials is big for IT professionals, so industry. So MSPs are managed service providers. So think of small IT businesses that for all of the small companies or even one person company, a doctor, a lawyer, or a large or a startup that is growing, they don't have IT in-house normally. So they have MSPs helping them run their business smoothly. And what we do, we enable MSPs a whole ecosystem, not only of reactive, becoming proactive rather than reactive. We also take the back office and automate it. It's called professional services automation. So the billing, the invoicing, the ticketing, all happens in parallel. So, for example, in the what I told you in terms of let's assume your computer gets lower, and we see that the temperature of the computer goes higher, and you have many browsers opened in parallel, etc. On top of getting an alert and fixing the issue without you even noticing it, the IT professional will have a ticket that is being counting the time, and eventually, once it's resolved, all of the back office is being taken care of until the invoicing and also billing later on. So that's the
Incredible.
idea, basically. Yeah, let them
So it's
focus on what they do best.
exactly, let them focus on what they do best, and it makes a lot of sense. And so, looking at it from the VP marketing side, and obviously
Mhm.
there's the whole R&D product side, but and then there's also the marketing side and the sales side. What is a VP marketing role at a company like this? What does it look like? I mean, are you more on the strategy, on the selling? How granular do you get? What is your role in essence?
So, of course, the strategy and basically the role is to be able to take this. These are we're selling to SMBs and very small businesses. We want to get to them. So the idea really was to build a strategy around performance mostly, and basically be able to recognize the needs of IT professionals and tailor a message to all, like we do with B2C, like the day-to-day consumers, let's say. And as a VP marketing, to build a system that enables the scale of customized messaging for the IT professionals, that's a big challenge and a big role of me day to day. And also the positioning of basically of the market to help them, to educate them, to make sure that they are perceived well within the organization they serve. It's also a big part of what we do on a day-to-day basis. So I would say customized messaging at scale and the positioning of the whole industry. IT industry is actually an industry, as I like to say, that needs to be rebooted or reconfigured in the IT words.
does your does your position change? How often does it change, and how do you think others in the organizations see you?
So in terms of, just to clarify, in terms of what of the day to day my position changes or how dynamic it is, the challenges day to day.
I think more in sort of in the life cycle of a company. So,
Mhm.
part of thinking about the strategy, you have 24 hours in the day just like anybody else. How do you keep in check with your priorities as to where
Mhm.
your time is best spent in a company that is
Got it.
growing very, very quickly and is continuing to
Yeah.
grow?
Atera, as you mentioned, actually, it's a great question. Atera, when I joined, it was me and also our marketing manager, which is now senior Marco manager. And we started as two people. Now we're close to 20 people. So definitely the marketing arm changed within Atera. And Atera grew quickly also from 20, 30 employees at the time, 3 years ago, to now 130 and growing, doubling its amount, hopefully, of people in 2022. And accordingly, the focus on well grown up marketing professionals within the organization and well procedured activities within the organization is crucial. How to keep the day. By the way, we work. I don't know if it's something that you used to work with, but OKRs is significantly important in our stage. I think we're exactly the same size as Google was when we started implementing it. They started.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a great challenge. We have our inorganic arm and we have a paid advertising arm and a very big and growing creative arm. So yeah, a lot of challenges day to day. The position definitely evolves.
Now, if you're imagining, Atera's impact on the industry, 5, 10 years down the line on small businesses, the way that IT is being, delivered and administered, what is the greater impact and the ripple effect that this can have on businesses? And, if businesses do better, obviously, then the rest of our services are better.
For sure. So I'll tell you two things as I see it. One, the IT professionals and the IT profession is being recognized for what it is. This is major. Think of an organization, especially organizations that grow bigger without IT, without proper IT, they will crash. And that's something that when you have the minimum necessary all the time, you don't think about it. When the minimum to run your business is actually not there, and the IT can do way more than that minimum. And this is something I would really look for in 5 to 10 years, that organizations understand the power of IT. That's one thing. Second thing is that the organizations themselves will run way smoother. Also at Atera, one of the main developments that we have is AI-based IT. So anything automation. So automating the day-to-day tasks, reset your password. Come on. I don't need a person to work on reset my password. The IT person can do way more, an engineer, and build way more than that. So basically, it's twofold: IT to be recognized for the power that it is and actually move and do and scale more than in terms of activities of what they do, and the organizations themselves to focus on their end on better infrastructure so they can run smoother. I would say in 5 to 10 years, there is no doubt SMBs will be like that, as enterprises are now much more, leaning towards smoothly running their business.
What in your journey or current position do you enjoy most? So where, I mean, I'm sensing, that there's a deep sense of mission in where you're at.
Yeah.
I'm sensing that there's a deep sense of satisfaction with what you're doing, and I truly believe it. I mean, I can really feel it. So, what is it about what you do that really makes you so excited?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you. It's fun. First of all, it's fun. Actually, that's true. It's fun doing what I do. I would also say that we want to make an impact, and we feel it. We get the feedback, and we are in touch with the day to day. I hear many discussions and read a lot about listening to customers and join the sales team or join the support team. We do it ourselves. We don't wait for any external team to talk to customers. We are happy to talk to customers, and when we get the feedback that we help the customers growing their business, growing their team, running their team, uh, get a better value from our product. We also try to us and customer success work a lot together. So when we get such a good feedback, I would say it means that we do what we need to do.
Fantastic. And let's transition now to more about, the professional side of the and getting the inspiration for that. So, one of the things that I'm always really fascinated by is how do leaders that are in strategic positions, how do they, continuously get the motivation and inspiration to make the right decisions that then and having those decisions come from a place of real inspiration and real intrinsic motivation. So if you're looking at your world and your journey, where do you derive your inspiration for the decisions that you make, for the way that you're thinking about your work and your life?
So that's a great question. I'm thinking, I know my aim. So my aim is really to make the match between the need and the
Yes.
and the product, and IT professionals in that sense, and Atera for me is that match, and that's the aim. And then data is very big for me. I'm very data minded. I'm trying to not be too data minded sometimes because being open is also very important in that sense. But data is what I would say. The motivation is clear. but what keeps me on track is analyzing. I know the data A to Z, let's say, and Z to N, and backwards. So, and if I'm not, I'm constantly try to learn what's missing. So I would say definitely data while knowing the aim. That's the two things that keeps me running
Love it.
professionally.
And Yoav, if you had to think of a few words that would describe you and your journey, what are those few words?
Okay. Few words. First of all, that I care. I think it's
Yes,
really
100%. I
important.
can feel that.
That's really that's the basic. Secondly, I would say that I'm open-minded, and thirdly, I would say that I'm focused, trying to be very focused on what I do.
Incredible. Yoav, toda rabba rabba. Thank you very, very much. Thank you for showing me marketing in a little bit of a different light and a different way of thinking through marketing, which is really, really wonderful. And I appreciate your time and your energy and the way that you're working with small businesses to really make an impact. Something that, in a place that maybe not is the sexiest place that, 25-year-olds out of the army want to go and think of, but truly make a significant impact on the world and at the end on everything that these small businesses get to produce. And so thank you for the great work and stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you, Michael, for the great words and stay well as well. And we'll be in touch. Thank you, Michael.
Yofi. Bye-bye.